See the picture showing you another important natural resource in the form of water. Do you know in 1975 the consumption of water for human was 3850 cubic kilometer per year. It soared to more than 6000 cubic kilometer per year in the year 2000. It means the consumption of the water is increased day by day. Another fact. Do you know a dripping tap wastes 1200 liters in a year? That is why in schools, in houses, through televisions, through other methods of medias, we are telling you, we are trying to make aware this population, save water, save life. Each and every drop of water is very, very important. Water is a vital renewable natural resource. Why we call it as a renewable natural resource? Because we had already studied in the previous class, somewhere in geography or in science also, about the water cycle. Understood? And in this water cycle, we have two important methods, evaporation and condensation. 3/4 of the Earth's surface is covered with water. It is therefore appropriately called as the watery planet. Our Earth is known as blue planet because of presence of water. It was in the primitive oceans that life began almost 3.5 billion years back. And on this earth, fresh water accounts only about 2.7%. Nearly 70% of this occurs as ice sheets, glaciers in Antarctica, Greenland, and mountain region. Fresh water accounts for only about 2.7%, and only 1% of fresh water is available and fit for human use. See, from 2.7, only 1% of fresh water is fit for us, and it is found as groundwater, one of the most fresh water resource, as a surface water in rivers and lakes, and as water vapor in the atmosphere. Now, problems of water availability. Some problems are also there with water availability. What are these? There is a scarcity of water in many regions of the world. And it was said earlier also that if there is the Third World War, then it is only purely because of water crisis. Most of Africa, West Asia, South Asia, parts of Western USA, Northwest Mexico, some parts of South America, and entirely Australia are facing shortages in freshwater supply. Countries located in climatic zones most susceptible to drought face great problems of water scarcity. पानी की कमी की वजह से इस तरीके के ड्रॉट फेस किए जाएंगे. Thus, water shortage may be a consequence of variation in seasonal or annual precipitation, or the scarcity is caused by overexploitation and contamination of water resources. Yes, one person is unable to get single bucket of water, whereas one family is overusing the water, washing, wasting the water. Every day they are washing the car. What is this? This is imbalance. One is facing the problem because of water and one is wasting the water. So these are kya? These are the problem which are related to the water availability. Now, conservation of water resource. Yes, like land conservation, soil conservation, we need to conserve water resources also. Because human life is not possible without water. Access to clean and adequate water sources is a major problem facing the world today. Sometimes we are celebrating water day, sometimes we are celebrating this day or that day. What's the use of all these? Because through these days, while celebrating these days, we are not learning anything from that one. That is why also the problem remain on the same place. Discharge of untreated or partially treated wastage, sewage, treated sewage, agricultural chemicals and industrial effluents in water bodies are major contaminant. Most of these chemicals belong non-biodegradable reach human bodies through water. Water pollution can be controlled by treating these effluents suitably before releasing them in water bodies. But none of us are checking all these things. Water is used for irrigating fields. The canal should be properly lined to minimize losses by water seepage. Sprinklers effectively irrigate the area by checking water losses through seepage and evaporation. In dry region with high rates of evaporation, drip or trickle irrigation is very, very useful. The valuable water resource can therefore be conserved by adopting these means of conservation. Now, natural vegetation and wildlife, one of your favorite topic, because all these belongs to you. Because we are kya? We are also the social animal. Now, biosphere. Human life is possible only in this layer. So, natural vegetation and wildlife exist only in this narrow belt where air, water, and land is present. This is called biosphere. In this biosphere, living beings are interrelated and interdependent on each other for our survival. And this life supporting system is actually known as ecosystem. Because alone we can't live. So we obviously will depend on each other. So this interdependence on each other for our survival is known as ecosystem. Vegetation and wildlife are valuable resources. Yes, they are most valuable resources. There are number of uses of plants. We know the uses of plants. For years, life-giving gas comes only from plants. Wildlife includes animals, birds, insects, as well as the aquatic life forms also. They provide us milk, meat, hides, and wool. Insects like bee provide us honey, helps in pollination of flower, and have an important role to play as decomposers in the ecosystem. You had already read about the food chain and the food web, na? Who eats whom? The whole system depends on this. The birds feed on insects and act as a decomposers as well. So Animals, big or small, all are the integral part of this ecosystem and help us to maintain balance in ecosystem also. Now, distribution of natural vegetation. Natural vegetation, which is basically divided into two, evergreen and deciduous. Evergreen that remains green throughout the year, and deciduous that in a particular time period they shed the leaves. Conservation of natural vegetation and wildlife. Our government has taken so many steps to conserve these wildlife and natural vegetation. Just I am giving you one or two examples. Biosphere reserves are there to conserve the natural vegetation as well as wildlife. Certain acts are being banned by the government. Poaching become illegal nowadays. That is why we need these conservative methods to preserve as well as to conserve our natural vegetation and wildlife. The animals are posed for collection and illegal trade of hides, skin, nails, teeth, horn, as well as feathers. All these things are now banned. In this way, we can actually conserve the natural vegetation and wildlife, and we can maintain a balance in the environment also. Due to indiscriminate killing, several birds and animals have become either extinct or on the verge of extinction. That is why also we need to conserve the wildlife also. So, in other words, I will end this module with the last statement, that is, the conservation of plants and animals is an ethical duty of each and every citizen that has to be done by each of us. That's all. Have a nice day. God bless you each.